Well, hello, everyone. I love and appreciate you. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Scott. Hi, Coach Bob, Arthur, Melody, and Bill. And of course, CJ, the hostess with the mostest. Appreciate you guys. If you guys have not watched the video that I did yesterday on Daily Wisdom, it's just called Ask, ASK. And it was a huge download for me. But as many things as I had coming in, I'm just going to do a backup here, just a little bit of a backup. And one of the things that we can call this one is the power of asking. The power of asking. And one of the things I want to show you guys to get this started, because it is amazing when you just focus on one thing. But John Kennedy was always known for this incredible thing he said in a speech: is ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you could do for the country. And I was thinking when he gave this speech, which was basically the United States was in a race with Russia and China to see who could be the first person to get a rocket on the moon, a man walking on the moon. And what I think is really interesting, if someone tried to do that today, can you imagine any leader right now in the United States telling people to not ask what their country could do for them? It's like what I didn't realize when I had the download yesterday is hi Kevin, thanks for jumping on. Is man, there is a generation right now, not being mean, instead of saying generation, let's say a group of people that's all they do is ask. You know what I mean? It's just they're constantly asking everyone and everything to do something for them. You know what I mean? And I just thought that I would share at the beginning of this, because when I really did some more due diligence yesterday, it was really interesting because I thought of the way that my wife and I communicate. And the way my wife and I communicate, and I don't know if you guys can understand this, but my wife is really good at hinting. All right. And sometimes the way that she hints because she would like me to do something are just not hints, but it's like I'm not a mind reader. So that's when all of a sudden I'm going around, I'm going like, what's wrong? And of course, I know none of you get this. I'm asking her what's wrong. And her response is nothing. But her energy, the way she's treating me, everything is, there's definitely something wrong, right? And so it all comes around this concept where she's hinted for me to do something, but she just won't ask me to do it. I'm not a mind reader. And I'm the kind of person that I don't remember what Terry and I were watching yesterday, but it's like one of the new movies on Netflix or whatever. But it's like it's Her Fault. It's a new thing that's out, and it's funny because in a part of it she was really really upset, and so she looked at him and said, he goes, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm going to clean the couch." And he didn't say anything. And she said, "You need to go get me some upholstery cleaner." And he smiled and said, "Yes, I will," and went out the door. And I was going like, how many of you are around people that you can tell they're not in a mood or the right mood? And what you can do is sometimes ask questions that just make it worse. So in a conversation, she said, I want to clean the couch. And that's where all of a sudden it's like, well, why do you need to do that now? Or asking a woman to calm down. So even though asking is very, very important, I thought I would just cover some stuff that I've already posted. Some of you might not. see this, but right away after yesterday's download, I immediately went in and started, looking at stuff, and I shared it on the video yesterday, but I'll share it again. But one of the things that's so powerful about the prayer of Jabez, I didn't realize that book is like in 20 different languages, 10 million copies sold. But again, hi, Vicky. Thanks for jumping on. It's just one of those things, again, that are just so simplistic. So whether a person believed in God or Buddha or Allah or just the universe, it's very, very important, in my opinion, to ask for things. Just very, very simply, ask for peace, ask for joy. In some case, ask for healing. Hi, Sandy, how are you? And it's just it's amazing to me just looking at the video I did yesterday, and then I want to share some stuff with you guys. So what I did is I was going through not only AI but also Google, and I came across this video that was just so powerful. Now, Craig, if you see the video, try to do me a huge kindness. I'm going to ask Craig to do me a kindness and try to enunciate or pronunciate this guy's name. But I know that we'll put it in the links below. But this guy's got this TED Talk, and he talks about this story where, he's Asian, and he said his teacher got everyone in I believe the class, like 40 some kids, a gift. And he said that the way that you got a gift is someone in the class just had to say something complimentary about you, and then you could go get a gift. And so he said it was okay when it was 40, but then he got a little anxiety when it got down to 20. And then he really got a knot in his stomach when it got down to 10. And sadly, it got down to 3 people. And no one really had anything nice, complimentary to say about him or the other 2 kids. So the teacher didn't feel good. So she just went, you guys just go ahead and get your gift. But he said he learned then, and he goes, I love how he said this because he's got sort of that dry sense of humor. Please watch the video on his TED Talk. But what he said is he goes, and you can tell it's still bothering me because I'm bringing it up right now in a story. But how many of you do not like public rejection? You know what I mean? It's just imagine when I had to deal with this, because a lot of people don't believe this of me, but I was extremely introverted. I tell people I had 3 friends. They were also auto mechanics. And I just wasn't an outgoing person. I worked in garages on race cars. That's what I did, right? And so what's really unique about my success in this industry is similar to this gentleman. Craig, you got a way to pronounce his name?
Jajang.
Jajang. That sounds like one of those block games that I'm kidding. Hi, Jim. How Mary? So anyway, the whole thing of it is that if once you go through like a really, really awful public embarrassment and rejection, then he just talked about, he went through the rest of his life with this concept, right? And then all of a sudden, what he did is he just said he scoured, you can watch the TED Talk, and he scoured Google, and he found this, it was rejection therapy. And the person basically suggested to him that he would come out with something outrageous he could ask for. So come out with something outrageous that you can ask for, and once a day go to somebody and ask that outrageous thing. Now, you could tell it was a lot of years ago because he said that he was doing a blog, and what he was going to do is record himself doing this. And so, again, it's all about, when we talk about rejection, we're usually scared of rejection because we're doing what? We're asking someone a question. How else can you get rejected if you're not asking somebody out on a date or asking somebody if they could take a look at a video, whatever, right? So what's really, really funny is he said the first one and he wrote them all down. And so he's going to do this project. And he said he went to a security guard and he just walked up to him and said, "Would you give me $100?" And of course, the guard said no. But then the guards asked, "Why?" And he said he was so scared that he just turned around and ran away. But he kept doing this until he went to a Krispy Kreme. He asked for the manager and he said, "I would like you to take 5 donuts for me and actually put them together so they look like the Olympic logo." Now, how many of you know that if you went to a Krispy Kreme or any donut shop and asked them to put 5 donuts together that looks like the Olympic logo along with the colors, how many of you know that that's just, listen, you got to be out of your mind, get out of here. But he said he kept doing more creative things and built his courage and his bravery of saying, what's the most outrageous thing that I can ask for? So then when the person tells me no, I'm okay. See, I never ever thought about getting past rejection by asking outrageous things that you know that people will say no to. So when you watch this TED Talk, and I put the other video in there, I know Craig will as well, he recorded himself. And so he runs into this lady that's the manager, and she hesitates, and she starts figuring out in her head how to make it happen. And even ask him, well, what colors are the rings? Well, I don't know. Does it look like this? And long story short, because you watch the short videos, she goes, makes it for him. And so she brings it out and shows him in the box and he's looking at it. And you can tell by his voice and stuff that he's blown away that she said yes, but not only said yes, but did it. So now he looks at her and he's thanking her and he's going, man, thank you so much. You made me so happy. This is so awesome. And then he goes, what do I owe you for this? And she said, nah, it's on me. And when you see the things going across the screen, it's the thing that he learned. You know, the people like Mother Teresa or Gandhi or some of these incredible people, that if you just would ask a lot of questions, you're going to run into a thing called a real human being with love and compassion. It will renew us going, wow, there are people out there that are good people. But you wouldn't know this if you wouldn't ask questions and continue to do so. Does that make sense? And so we did a little video of it, went out in front of, it was dark, so I don't know how early he got there in the morning or at night. And then I think the girl was named Jill or something, but he thanked her for it. And then he posts that video on YouTube. And I forget, he said it went over 5 million views, but now it has 6.2 million views on it. Now, if you look at the rest of his videos, they're not doing so well. But he says from that, he not only got fortune and fame, but he also got people that wanted him to do the speak, including TEDx Speak. But then what he did is he has a website, and he also sells courses and books on all about, you know, how to get over rejection by simply asking outrageous questions. Now, the other part that I want to get into is really, really cool, because he said as he was asking these questions that he noticed that people might say no, but what they would do is ask him a question back. So when he asked them to do something and they go, well, no, you know, that's sort of weird to ask. And he would respond, yeah, I know it's weird. And then a person went, well, why are you asking this? And then he would say, well, I'm challenging myself on how to get over rejection. Oh, man, that's awesome. And he said, when you sincerely ask a question and a person sincerely asks a question back, this is now called a conversation. And how many of us would like to get better at our conversation skills, right? And so the other things that I wanted to add is when I first got involved in talking to people, my mentor had this deal where it was a big white pin that you pinned on, a big white pin. It was really big too. And it was white, and the red letters on it were "Are you question mark?" Are you question mark? And so the pin really got the people that you were looking for. Because most people I would see the pin and they'd roll their eyes or they'd turn their heads or do something. But I can't imagine wearing that pin around some of you that I know here because you would not. I always bring it out Sandy, but I couldn't wear a big pin that says "Are you question mark" without Sandy going, "Are you what?" And we used to make jokes about it because if you didn't want to get pinned into talking about business, right? Then you could ask anything. It's like, well, are you what? Well, are you single? You know, it turned out to be a pin that you could wear anywhere. And now to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship is that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this company called Herbalife. But it was one of the fastest companies to $1 billion. And in 19, I believe 84, it was the fastest growing privately held company in the world. It went from literally nothing to $1 billion. Now, listen to this. There was two things that you could use. One was the product, and listen what the button said. Um, want to lose weight now? Ask me how. I see Bill put it up here already. Want to lose weight now? Ask me how. And it said that on the pin. And the other one was ask me how you can make $300 a week. Or ask me how. So isn't it amazing that some people figured this out and it went to $1 billion company? Now, for those of you that want to know where I got my start, is the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, went after Herbalife, I believe in 85 or 86, right in there. And they came up with a new law, the FDA did. And they said, listen, the ingredients on the label, you got to tell us what's in the product. And when they first came out with the law, you guys, the law was you got to tell us what percentage of each ingredient there was. So this young guy named Mark Hughes that started Herbalife, took the FDA and the government to court. And he won. His argument with the Supreme Court was by me giving you the percentage of each ingredient, I'm giving you away my formula. And that's a criteria formula that I invented, that I came up with. So that's why you now see ingredients on things, but now it's the one that has the most is the first, the second, the third, the so on. So if it wasn't for Mark Hughes fighting the government, we would have the percentage of each ingredient on the label. Now, unfortunately, because he was such a young guy and had one of the largest homes in LA, when you flew into LAX, there's this giant building that said Herbalife on all the sides of it. He really stuck it to people that said that, that kind of marketing, network marketing, multi-level was not a way to do it. He really stuck it to them. And in the heights of Herbalife, there was bumper stickers that said, if you want to sign up in Herbalife, honk your horn. There were people signing up, people on the sides of streets and freeways in LA. That's how big it got and how fast it was growing. But all the negative news made the company go from $1 billion a year in sales back to $100 million. And so a lot of those leaders left Herbalife and went to a company called NSA in 1987. And that's the mentors that I learned from. So this whole concept of having something so simple. And so I told Matt, we should have We should have a shirt or a hat that just has ask on it. It could be a lot of words, but if you wore a shirt or a hat and all it said on it was ASK, maybe in a really nice way, how many people do you think would say, okay, all right, I'll ask. What's ask? Ask. And then you can fill in anything you want. But I really wanted to tell the story of this guy that, changed his whole life by simply asking a question. And so I'll leave you guys with this because when I got involved in this industry, I what I needed to come up with, my mentor didn't give me a script. My mentor didn't give me what to say. Nothing. He said, ask as many people as you can, as fast as you can. And simply ask them if they know of anyone that needs to make money. So see, this was an indirect way. And I got really, really good at it, including telling them a little bit about me before I asked the question, so then they wouldn't ask me any questions. So I would say something like, hi, my name's Robert. What's your name? Do you guys notice that's an ask? Oh, I'm Vicky. Well, Vicky, could I ask you to do me a huge personal favor? Another ask. What is it? I'm currently auto mechanics on workman's comp, but I'm learning how to make money to support my family. And I'm working with a guy that can teach people how to make six figures their first year with him. Vicky, do you know of anyone that would like to make that kind of money? And the response was always, well, what is this? Well, why? Are you interested? I am. Well, great. I would rather you get the information from the person that's actually teaching it, like getting it from a professor instead of a student. Can we set a time where I can show you this VHS tape? And that's how I made all my money 39 years ago. So even though we're talking about, yesterday I talked about, a lot of people try to use all these things that they learned, and I'm not saying they're bad, but we do all these things to try to improve who we are to get results in life, right? So, read out loud the God memorandum every night before you go to bed for 100 days. Get up every morning and do a gratitude journal. Make sure that you meditate. All these things have to do with us being obedient and disciplined to us doing things to become better. Now, how many of us would be willing to admit that we're not very patient with ourselves? So, what are you talking about doing this for 100 days? I'll give it like 3. I need to give it like 3 days or 2 days to see if this works. And then when we see it doesn't work, then a lot of us, me including, are not really disciplined in doing the things that we're supposed to when it comes to personal development. So the thing I really want you guys to all think of moving forward, hi, Robin, thanks for getting on. Hi, Jim, is the next thing to really think about is what if you could take the time in a journal if you wanted to, but just really think about how you can ask for guidance, how you can ask for joy, ask for peace. I always ask, for the words to say to those that have ears to hear. And Deborah left me a beautiful message today. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah just said, Robert, you might think this is a new great download that you have, but of all the people that I've ever listened to, you tell people more than anything to ask. She says it's in your vocabulary. You're like, ask them if they know of anyone. Can you do me a huge personal favor? And so, I got to thinking that I wouldn't be as successful as I am if I wasn't a good asker, right? So there's also, I'll leave you guys with this, is this guy is just incredible to me, and this got sent to me. But I have a guy that's named Bob Vickers, and I helped him years ago, create a website. And this guy writes me a personal letter every month, even though we're friends on Facebook. And what he does is he does grants. You know what I mean? So what he does is he always gives me things, sends me these little things that he cuts out with his kids, and now he does it with his grandkids, and he sends me all these little cool things, you know. And I usually do a video and send it back to him. But what he does is he's known as the expert in the United States for getting people grants for the government for anything, right? And so when me and him sat down, he said to me, I need to come up with a name for people to really, really understand what I'm doing. And I remember like it was yesterday. I said, why are you asking yourself or asking me, someone that doesn't know anything about grants? I said, why don't you just ask God? And he looked at me and he went, that is like the simplest thing I've ever heard. And so he went, okay, God, you know my heart. You know that I'm going to help people get grants so they can support their imagination and dreams. Please give me the name of my website, my company. And that name, you guys, is Artful Askers. So the way he taught people to get millions and millions of dollars for whatever they want is being very good at asking questions. Be an artful asker. Isn't that powerful? So if you now ask yourself, you know, whatever power you believe in, is you're just going, what would be some really good questions to ask somebody as far as breaking the ice? Because how many of you guys know that most people just immediately go into the presentation? They're not asking you anything. Like, oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. They immediately go into what they are excited about, excuse me, or they immediately go into telling you what you should like. Isn't that crazy? So how many of you is like, so if I put in a chat, if I reach out to Vicky, the very first time I reach out to her, and hi, Robin, thanks for jumping on. And I just reach out to Vicky, she knows nothing about me. And the very first words that I put is hello or hi. Is that asking? No. So what's the first thought that a person usually has? Not good. But then they ask the wrong questions. So you go, all right, whatever, hi. And then they come back and they go, how are you doing? Where are you from? It's like, I don't have time for this. You know what I mean? Greg pulling teeth, you know? It's like, so I hope that helped you guys. Really think what someone could say to you that would make you think that they actually cared about you. Example, I won't just leave you with that. So what if I looked at Vicky's profiles on her social medias? And all I said was, wow, Vicky, I just seen your profile. How long have you been helping children? Because if I looked at her profile and I could see that's what she loves, that's what she's passionate about, asking her a question about what she loves and she's passionate about, How many people think that she would give me a response? Yeah, absolutely. So I love and appreciate you all. I'm going to turn it over to CJ, and he's going to give us what the rest of our schedule is. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. So let's all be artful askers. Love and appreciate each and every one of you. Craig, over to you.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Robert. I almost think that you could double title this one as Asking Part 2 as well.
Yeah, if you want. You're the you're the wizard.
Oh, thank you very, very much. All right. So coming up here with Unlimited Wisdom, of course, these are daily live podcast events that we share with you as being members of our community. Thursdays, breakthrough session, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Friday, again, we're going to have another Daily Wisdom, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Saturday is Ask Us Anything, where you get to ask us, our community members, anything that you have on your mind. It's a great forum for just getting things out and talking about it. And that's Saturdays, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Sunday, the Master's Mind. And Robert always has some great shares with us for the Sunday Master's Mind. Join us 3 p.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And Monday morning, 9 a.m., get the week started with us in our recess. 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. So we got things every single day of the week, and we are just so glad to have you a part of our amazing community. We love and appreciate you. And please don't forget to join us tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for Breakthroughs. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Until then, be good to yourselves. Be cash. Bye-bye. I'm going to go ahead and unmute as we say so long. But first, also got to let you know that if you want to save anything in the meeting chat, click the 3 dots in the meeting chat, then click Save Chat. It'll download to your computer once we conclude. So let's go ahead, unmute, and say so long. Have a fantastic
Hi, Robert.
day.
Thank you so much.
You're
So
welcome.
long. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
You're
guys.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin,
Ciao.
Arthur,
Love
Kevin,
you all.
Lisa Marie, Jim, Sandy, Vicky. Thank you for stopping by. Melody, Bill,
Bye.
and CJ. God bless you guys. Have a good day.
Cheers.
You